Toto Wolff has thrown down the gauntlet as he signals a bold move that could shake up the competition. After a rocky weekend with their latest car innovations, Mercedes is ready to bring back the floor update they abandoned during the Belgian Grand Prix. The team is confident that they've ironed out the kinks and are ready to bring it back for the race at Zandvoort. Despite the initial hiccup they faced at Spa, the team's commitment to pushing the limits of their car's performance remains strong. In Belgium, Mercedes tested a modified floor in practice sessions, hoping it would provide a competitive edge. However, the results were far from promising. After struggling during the first 2 practice sessions, and with rain in the forecast, the team decided to revert to the previous floor specification. It seemed like a setback, but Mercedes boss Toto Wolff insists it wasn't. Wolff explained that the problems they encountered were more about the car's mechanical setup than the new floor design itself. This means that with the right adjustments, the revised floor could still offer significant improvements. Mercedes is not alone in dealing with such challenges. This season, other top teams like Aston Martin, Ferrari, and Red Bull have also faced issues when introducing major updates, experiencing some unintended consequences along the way. I think we made a drastic change in order to recover some of the performance, but we believe it wasn't the floor, Wolff said regarding Mercedes' plans with the part. It will be quite interesting when we put everything on the car in Zandvoort and correlate and see what it does. Then we can be sure whether it's the mechanical bit that we thought, or if there are few interactions aerodynamically and mechanically that didn't work. Mercedes had a dramatic weekend at Spa. They finished 1-2 on the track with George Russell leading Lewis Hamilton, but the celebrations were short-lived. Russell's car was disqualified for being underweight, leaving Hamilton to claim his 105th career win, extending his record further. This win was particularly sweet for Hamilton, who had broken a long victory drought just weeks earlier at Silverstone. The strong performance at Spa was unexpected, especially after Mercedes had to revert to an older car setup following a poor performance in Friday's practice sessions. Initially, the team struggled, particularly in the twisty Sector 2, lagging behind McLaren and Red Bull. In response, Mercedes decided to shift its focus and performance bias towards this challenging sector for the second practice. As the team worked through the night at their Brackley factory, with simulations running into the early hours, they concluded that reverting to their known setup was the best course of action. This included removing a new floor they had introduced, which they suspected might be causing unintended aerodynamic or balance issues. The decision, as we all know, ended up paying off greatly on race day. George Russell explained after the race in Spa that Mercedes' transformation was simply about the team being able to get its car in the right operating window. And that is why he has no doubts that the new floor that was abandoned after Friday will be back. We've got a lot of things we can play around with, and I think we just had it in the wrong window on Friday, he said. We obviously reversed on the floor because we just wanted to rule that out as well. But I've got no doubt that in Zandvoort we'll be returning to the new aero package and getting the car in a slightly different window mechanically. Appearing on Mercedes' post-race debrief show following the Belgian Grand Prix, trackside engineering director Andrew Chauvelin shared some insights about their approach at Spa. He noted that the similar characteristics of the Spa and Silverstone circuits influenced their decision-making. This led them to revert to the Silverstone setup after a tough start at Spa. The reason we reverted the car to the Silverstone spec on Friday night was because we had a good race in Silverstone, he said in Mercedes' post-race debrief. Spa and Silverstone are not dramatically different circuits in terms of the corner speed range that you are dealing with. We had clearly introduced some problems somewhere. We think that was largely due to how we were running the car in Spa, not induced by the updates themselves. That was giving us a bit of bouncing in the high-speed corners, as well as a few issues with the balance. Going to that Silverstone car got it all back to normal. Looking ahead, Chauvelin confirmed that Mercedes plans to bring back the upgrades they initially tested at Spa when the F1 season resumes at the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort later this month. We have since had time to look at the data to understand what it was that we did, and we are pretty confident that we will be going for a reintroduction in Zandvoort. Despite the team's recent success, Toto Wolff wants the garage to remain cautious. He acknowledges the positive trend in Mercedes' recent performances, but warns that there's no guarantee this will continue in the second half of the season. While Mercedes has won 3 of the past 4 races and has also claimed 2 pole positions, with Russell qualifying fastest of all in Canada and Britain, they are still too far behind in the championship to challenge Red Bull and Max Verstappen seriously. I think we need to remain both feet on the ground, the Austrian warned. The swings of performance, you see a trend definitely that's positive on our side. With some other teams, you see a negative trend. But I don't think we should really preempt how the second half of the season is going to go. Red Bull kicked off the 2024 F1 season just as strongly as they ended the previous year, with Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez securing 3-1-2 finishes in the first 4 rounds. However, their dominant performance has since faltered, particularly with Perez's dramatic drop in form. The front grid has become pretty unpredictable, with any of the top 3 teams, Red Bull, McLaren and Mercedes, capable of emerging as the strongest on any given weekend. Ferrari remains in contention as well, adding to the uncertainty. Toto Wolff is obviously aware of this competitive environment, acknowledging that the fight for supremacy is wide open as the season progresses. I think it's a tough fight, and there are 4 teams that are giving it everything. I think we can be carefully optimistic, but we've got to prove it. There are 10 races to go. A similar sentiment is shared by Chauvelin. In his post-race debrief show following the Belgian Grand Prix, Chauvelin reflected on the team's brilliant response to their early season woes. He revealed the team had only hoped to challenge for victories and pole positions at the end of the season, with Mercedes now back to really enjoying the racing, following their recent upturn in performance. He said, "The main thing is the progress. Where we were in the early races in Bahrain and in Jeddah, it was difficult to look at the car and understand what it was you had to do to make it quick. We could see it had certain strengths, but it also had plenty of weaknesses. The team has responded brilliantly to that challenge. We know where we want to get to in terms of performance level. We knew that we wanted to be winning races, and we set ourselves a target of by the end of the season, we wanted to be qualifying on pole and winning races. We have now had 3 wins in the last 4 races. We have had 6 podiums on the trot. That has perhaps been more than we had expected at that point. We are really enjoying the racing now. We are enjoying the challenge. It feels like the team has a bit of momentum behind it, and we are hoping that we can carry that into the final bit of the season, continue to develop, and hopefully continue to win some races." So there you have it. Mercedes is gearing up to bring back the floor upgrades they tested at Spa, hoping to boost their performance at the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort. As the season progresses, it's clear that Mercedes is not backing down from the fight. Do you think these updates will work out in their favor? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest F1 news.